All right. I don't know if anybody's on. Danielle?
It says 0 viewers.
Oh, 0 viewers. Well, so we just sit and
Maybe you're
wait.
waiting for them to join now?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
I'm not sure why it
I
says
don't
you
know.
with her picture. That seems
Yeah, I don't know.
confusing.
I don't know how we get her. Can we see who was invited?
Maybe if you click on add people, it'll have the people already invited.
Yeah, let's see. No,
Mm-hmm.
no. Hmm.
You sent the invite.
Yeah. Hmm. I don't know. So for these of you watching the recording, just hang on. It'll start when everybody joins. Hmm.
Just trying to see if
Oh, here. Danielle, can you see us? Can you hear us? No. Danielle, it looks like you're with us, but I can't hear you or see you. Oh, there you are. Hi. Hi. Oh, I can see you. Can you hear us? Wait. She's not seeing us.
I wonder if her sound is on.
No, she's not seeing anything. Can you see us, Danielle?
Hello.
Yay! All right. Can you hear us?
Hi.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Oh, great. Okay, we're just waiting for a couple of other people to show up. Oh, here comes
Okay.
Wait, here comes somebody. Let's see.
We're in the middle of a thunderstorm. Oh, I see you.
All right, we see you. I don't know. Google.
It's going to do that when her broadcast isn't strong enough.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Maybe it's because of this one.
Right. It could be. All right, you hang on with people. I'm just going to email everybody else to say look at their group.
You can do that from here.
Oh, you can?
Don't you use your
And
email?
I'm doing it from
Right,
my Outlook.
Yeah.
So I've asked people on my webinar to call us. All right, Danielle.
Hi.
Hi. So we're recording, so I don't want to even do a whole lot of catch up because it'll be seen by other people when they're doing it. So, but you can tell us about your thunderstorm because that's good to hear about. What's going on there?
It's just Florida crazy summer weather. So I drove to work and it wasn't raining and now it's storming and so my internet might go in and out.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's fine. It's lovely. It's hot.
You're at Temple Judea in Florida.
Oh, this is.
Hi, I'm Rabbi Rodich.
Hi, I'm Danielle. So nice to meet you. I'm
Is John Fish your new assistant rabbi?
No, I'm in Temple B'nai Israel in Clearwater, Florida, on the other coast.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, someone else. Yeah, someone else is coming from that.
Oh, I saw. Okay.
I don't know where.
Yep. So I'm happy to be here and learn more about B'nai Mitzvah stuff because I'm kind of in charge of that for our congregation. So
Okay.
great.
Well, I guess we're going to give people another couple of minutes to find this, and if they
Okay.
don't, then we'll just do it and they'll get to watch the recording.
Sure.
Because we have about 6 other people that were intending to come, but we didn't. Oh,
Oh,
I
are
don't know
people?
where they are.
Oh, someone just. Uh-oh, thunder. Someone sent an email saying they're having technical issues.
Viewers.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well, just talk to each other, learn about each other. I don't know if I can cut down a YouTube video, but
So tell me about. I'm in the process of thinking of applying to HUC.
Great.
So I'd love to hear about your path to the rabbinate.
Well, I was just ordained in May, so I'm very new.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations.
And my path was windy, as good paths are. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I'm here because it's a job that I love and that it allows me to do a lot of different things that I care about. That's the quick answer on one foot.
That's wonderful. That's great.
What are you thinking about? What do you do? What's your role now at the synagogue?
I'm the cantorial soloist,
Mm-hmm.
and
Are you thinking School of Sacred Music or Rabbinical School?
that is the big storm. That is the big decision right now.
Uh-huh.
I think I could do either and be happy, but I think when it comes down to it, my passion lies in the music,
Yeah.
which is kind of interesting because nowadays that's not exclusively owned by the cantorial side of things.
Right.
So,
People that can do both are a hot commodity, I'll tell you, just coming off the job market.
right, exactly. At the same time, I think I'm leaning towards the cantorial side of things
Uh-huh.
for a variety of reasons, but I'm definitely keeping that all in mind so that I think now that's why I'm confused. So, Ellen Dreskin told me she'd be very upset with me if I went to rabbinical school.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's good to have this problem, I guess. I know that I want to do something in the Jewish world, so now it's just deciding where exactly that lies for me.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Yeah. Yep. And this is I just had my 1-year anniversary of working at this congregation, so I'm starting my second year. Yeah. So that's exciting, learning a lot.
Did you get my Google Doc?
I did.
You have it. Great. Okay.
Have it.
It's just a PowerPoint, and I don't know where the others are. I know there's one other person who told me she's having trouble linking in, but I don't know. But I think we'll give another minute, and then we'll just get started.
Sure. Someone else.
Yeah, I can't see on this
That's one viewer.
chat that that anyone's invited. Like I can't see who I've invited and if they're having trouble.
Someone said, Alan Cook.
Yeah.
Said, I think I am on it. I've got my Gmail open and the file that you sent Wendy. Is there something else I need to do? Would you like me to respond to him?
Yes. But how are you responding? Wait, I've lost it.
This is replies to your email on Google.
Oh, Christopher Geller. Okay. Oh, I bet there's text. There we go. You know, Danielle, where did he send that to you? Where do you see that? Danielle? Oh dear. I should have gone with the program that I know how to use better. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it says that she's still on, but where do we? I have no idea.
I have not used this version of it.
I know. Let's see if we have any of these. Okay, this is the document I'm going to need.
Oh, he's here.
Ah,
He's not in the Google Hangout. So if you go to
okay, comments.
no,
No. Here, show chat.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Google. Okay. I see. And Sarah. Okay, so then where is our?
You're looking for the Hangout.
Oh, the Hangout again.
Go to Window.
Yeah.
A different window.
Ah. Here. Okay. Danielle, are you there yet? Shoot. Uh-oh. Danielle? No. No, what should we do?
Um, I don't know.
Screen share, showcase.
I have to reschedule it.
Yeah. Oh, here. Left group chat, join group chat. I don't know. There. Oh, there we go. Wait. There should be. Where's Safari? Over here? Or where is.
What are you looking for?
Well, I wanted to find where are our tabs again. Oh, here they are. There. But it's not in this tab. It's in. There's got to be a way to see that. Like you do it here, but I do it. Oh, here we have. Who do we have now? Okay,
We had a power
Danielle.
surge.
Do you know how?
Yes.
But do you know how to get the other people here?
Once you invited them, if they go to their Google Plus pages, they just have to join the call. So it should have, yeah, they should have gotten like a little window that says Wendy's trying to call you, and then they just have to say accept and join.
All right. So. Oh. What?
That's a G chat sound. Go to your Gmail.
Oh, Alan Cook says here.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, not seeing the invitation. Go to instant.capital.com. Nope. Sarah. There we go. All right, we can still hear you, Danielle. They're all telling me that they're just about joined, but.
No worries. I have time.
Google Chat. Okay. Okay. Great. That's Rose.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, I have a webinar attendee online. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, hi. Here,
It's
you
Sarah
field that in
Mann.
there. Hi, Alan? Are you with
Yes.
us? Here, will you
Yes.
field that? Great. Okay, we have one more person
Hello.
who's just going to join us, and then we're all set to go, okay?
Okay. Give me 1 second to close my office door.
Hi. Oh, I feel like I've met. Oh, okay. Goodbye. There he goes.
So.
Yep.
Okay, but you can see and hear us.
Oh, great. Oh, okay.
Okay, great. So we'll assume that you're with us then.
Okay. And tell her she can
Perfect.
type chats. Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Okay, we're ready. You need to have the Google Doc that the PowerPoint that I sent you, and then we're going to get started. All right? Everybody got it?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, Alan. I'm Wendy. I'm the one leading the webinar. This is Jason, who's with me. Hello.
Hello.
And Danielle. Danielle is in a thunderstorm, so we can see your picture, but we can't necessarily hear you. So my advice is for the first 10 or 15 minutes, because we're late, if you have questions, just type them in the group chat on the right. And why doesn't everybody just quickly type a hello so we know that that's working? And was it Sarah or Alicia that called in?
Sarah.
Everybody just type in that you're there, and then we'll get started, okay? Okay. Oh. Okay. Great. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to get started, and we'll see as people show up. Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Alan. Okay. So
Hi.
here's what we're going to do: is we're going to talk through kind of what our basis was. And at first, my PowerPoint kind of just goes through like really word for word, but then you'll see it'll kind of start to expand a bit because I'm new to PowerPoints, and that's just how it does. So to begin with, I've been at Shir Tikva for 4 years, and I've started calling our program on slide 1 Beyond the Barchu. What does it mean for an adolescent to become an adult member of the Jewish community at Shir Tikva? It's my working title, and as I've presented to my board, I've talked about B'nai Mitzvah as there are 3 springboards that I feel responsible for their Jewish futures, and that's engagement, accessibility, and enrichment. Got it? Okay, so you can't see. All right. So if you look at slide 2, this is kind of my questions were so what got me thinking about this? I've been tutoring B'nai Mitzvah since I was 15 years old, which is now over 3 decades. And we've really changed things up here. And it started with the first phone call I got when I started is on slide 3. And it went like this. My kid just spent 5 sessions with the private tutor working on Kiddush, $250 to learn Kiddush. Why isn't he learning this in Hebrew school, and why am I paying all this money? And she was just outraged. And the rabbi I was working with at the time, it got us thinking of what is universal learning, what is individualized learning, and how do we make this seamless? And everything came from that. And then the other things when I've talked with adults about their bar mitzvah, the quote is generally slide number 4, which is, I hated my bar mitzvah. I didn't understand anything. You've probably heard this before, right? I didn't want to do it. I've hardly been back in a synagogue since then, but now it's time for my kid to do it. And at the synagogue I'm working at, that Jason and I are at, we have people very far on the margins. Many people have really not walked into a synagogue since their bar mitzvah. I've had to hold people's hands to practice walking into the sanctuary privately before they go into their child's bar mitzvah, because there's so much baggage and stuff that they really haven't been able to fathom walking into a sanctuary. But something has gotten them to do this for their child. And my job I call myself the tour guide of B'nai Mitzvah for them, has been really to kind of be their coach for the adults and for the kids as well. Can't see. I'm just going to check and see if everybody's chatting because I'm kind of going in between. Yes, you probably can't have the Hangout and the PowerPoint. You might be able to minimize. You can probably make the screen of me a little smaller, and then you can look at the PowerPoint. But yes, I'm looking.
Yeah, unfortunately, every time I minimize, it takes me out of the chat. So
I see.
I'll look over your slides later. I'm sure they're lovely.
Great. Okay. All right. So anyway, the other pieces, as I've worked with my tutors, what we've come up with is that on slide 5, right? The bar mitzvah is not meant to be a graduation from Judaism. I'm sure you would all agree with that. But what I keep asking is this the best we have to offer? What is the best that we have to offer? What can we be doing? We also have another segment of our population that say, I wasn't raised Jewish. I'm doing this because it's important, but I don't understand what it is or have the knowledge to transmit this tradition to my children. So again, I go back to what is my role as the maitre d', the tour guide of this is really engagement, accessibility, and enrichment. Because I have families who are raised Jewish, who love this and have less ambivalence. I have the Jews who have tons of ambivalence, and I have the people who weren't Jewish or aren't currently Jewish, who just don't know and are either intimidated, scared, just want to do the right thing by the decision that they've said. So if any of you were with me on slide 7, they all say, I want this to be meaningful. I'm so excited. What can I learn? How can I participate? This is also what I'm sitting with. So on slide 8, what I'm saying is that I started noticing as I worked with our families that the process of B'nai Mitzvah was transformative for the child, yes, but really the transformation was very huge for the parents. And I started paying attention to the parents in a major way and realizing that the more the parents get from this, the more they're engaged and enriched and brought back, the more the whole family will benefit for this and the Jewish people. I see this as a very, very big mission, and that focusing on the parents has to be part of my mission. So when Alan asked me, Alan, are you there? Oh.
Yeah, I'm here.
We're good. We're good.
Sorry, go.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm on a webinar.
I'm just pausing to get a little interruption there.
Sorry.
Bye. Okay. So if you look at slide 9, I've developed 6 central questions that every single thing I do has to pass at least 3 or 4 of these questions if we're going to do it. So Alan started this question by saying, what are the materials I use? And Alan, when I get to the point of sharing materials, the most important thing is whatever your materials are, whatever my materials are, I have found that having 6 organizing questions, and maybe for you it'll be 4, maybe you'll take some of mine, maybe you'll come up with your own with your team, but having some organizing questions has really helped me focus, and the families have started quoting my central questions when they're talking about what they've done, and they've done some really interesting experimenting. So if anybody is on slide 9, the central question is, how is this experience going to be meaningful? to me, the bar mitzvah kid, bar mitzvah student, and to my family. So, so I'll take a break to share that where this really got cooking is 2 years ago we had a family who said, oh, we're not having a bat mitzvah at Shir Tikva, but we're going to have a bike mitzvah. Our daughter has decided to bike to Duluth 150 miles with her father and grandfather as her rite of passage into adulthood, and that she wanted to be able to say at the end of her bat mitzvah, her bike mitzvah, if I can do this, I can do anything. Touching the table to move the mouse. Okay. And so as we tried to figure out, okay, how can a bike mitzvah actually be brought into a synagogue and be meaningful in a Jewish way, that's where we started to think this is, for her, it was the most meaningful. But my job was to couch it back into enrichment, engagement, and accessibility for her and their family. And they actually weren't going to tell the synagogue because they felt that they would have to do their own thing and no one would accept them. And that will be our model as I talk through how I got to my other 5 questions. Everything was formed on that. So I'm on slide 10. My piece that was my bike mitzvah, then my next question was, okay, great, you're going to do this bike mitzvah. How will this experience connect you to the community? You sit in the Jewish community, you sit in the Shir Tikva community, you have your social community. For some of our kids, they brought their baseball team or their soccer team to the synagogue a month before their bar mitzvah to teach the kids, this is what we do, this is why we're doing it, so that when their Gentile friends come, and who knows, maybe there's a Jew on the team, I haven't seen that yet, but maybe they come in and they come in as guests in a totally differently supportive way. Going back to question 1, how is this meaningful to me and my family? How does it connect me to my community? In our community, we have a very large percentage of our families that are connected to the LGBT identities, but we talk a lot about coming out stories related to that. But what I've learned over my years is that as Jews in the Midwest, where we live in very non-Jewish areas, there's also a coming out of being a Jew in this world, and actually everybody, all sorts of people all of a sudden have coming out stories of, I'm the only one who is blind. We have someone here. We now have someone who just had an amputation, is the only one with that, and our building is not accessible. Everybody, and how they came out with their plans towards the amputation and stuff, everybody has their own story of they want to share this and they don't know how and they want to do this. So that also is in the long range of B'nai Mitzvah, getting kids to have a debut, a coming out of some sort. So my bike mitzvah girl, Layla, she wrote a coming out letter as a feminist. She wrote a letter to all of the people she would invite saying, I want you to come to my celebration. I am a feminist, and she wrote about why. And so that again had to do with engagement, enrichment, and accessibility. All so okay. I'm on slide 11. Can you see? No, sorry. On slide 11 it says, then, how will this experience be personal, honor my family structure, my learning style? So that's the next hurdle that we have to look at is, okay, for Layla, an example, how does this honor her personal desire to have a physical expression of her journey toward adulthood? We have families who are divorced, we've had families with Hindu parents. How can we bring in something from their tradition to bring their children towards adulthood that is still part of our B'nai Mitzvah process? So our Hindu father talked about his punal ceremony and the strings that he got when he was a kid as he gave his daughter her talis. And didn't say, I want you to be Hindu. He wanted her to be Jewish, and they're raising her as a Jew, but was able to say strands of tradition are important in our family. And the other thing that we're very cautious about at Shir Tikva in terms of learning style is we do not hide kids with special needs or families with special needs at a mincha bar mitzvah, at a havdalah bar mitzvah. Everyone is precious and fine at our synagogue, and everyone learns and gains from that. So our kids who what we would call, quote, right, special needs, they have the B'nai Mitzvah, and maybe they've learned from transliteration. Maybe their aliyah is one verse, but they stand at the Torah with the community. We don't have private events, and we've had to teach our community that it's not a private event, that everyone's welcome at a bar mitzvah, at a bat mitzvah, We're really working on a culture, again, of accessibility, enrichment, and engagement for everyone in the community. Okay? I'm just going to take a pause to see if anybody has asked any questions at this point. Oh, shoot. Okay. Show me, Jason.
I don't know. You're looking for the chat.
The chat, yep. Just for the chat. Oh, see.
Oh, it was up.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to keep going. You're doing great. All right. Ready? So I'm on slide 12. The next question that I have is, how will this experience be grounded in Jewish learning that I can take with me? So when we start talking about Torah, Haftorah prayers, I'm very, very concerned that those don't really translate to long-term Jewish learning that they can use when they're in a public high school and stuff is happening in Israel and kids in the halls are waving flags of free the Palestinians. I mean, this is today's story, right? Free the Palestinians, death to the Jews are bad, blah, 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 is that the Torah verses aren't actually going to teach them that. They have to have learning where they know history of Israel, they need to know history of themselves, they need to do all these things. I spent my junior high years fighting with my friend from a Reform synagogue about which is better, conservative or Reform, blah, 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 blah. And that really, we needed some coaching on some real learning about pluralism is good and pluralism is, even if we don't think it's good, it is there and stuff. So as we've designed, and Alan, as you asked about materials, constantly I'm looking for how do I teach my people, who some of whom do not own Jewish books and have not read Jewish stories, how do I teach them to be equipped in the world, to be confident to find answers, to look for answers when they don't know. Okay? So I'm on slide number 13. The next piece is, how will this experience me to be a Jewish adult out in the world? It's connected to the Jewish learning, but some is Jewish knowledge and some is how do I prepare to be proud as a Jew, able to speak for the Jewish community, able to tell people not all Jews speak for the Jewish community and we all have different opinions. And those are the pieces. So as I show you what we do in 6th and 7th grade, you'll see everything is sprinkled with these questions. Okay? And finally on slide 14, Rabbi Latz, who I'm working with, has kept saying to me, how is this personally spiritual? And how the heck do I explain what is personally spiritual? So I've started at my intake meeting, which is 12 months before the kids' bar mitzvah. They have a meeting with me, and I talk about your heart, that religion or Judaism or our shul is committed that when your heart is really happy and overfilling, that you have your spiritual community where you can celebrate the greatest things. And when it's scared and lonely and grieving, that it's a place that you can come and share that. This morning in Minyan, we have a morning Minyan and people shared kind of where they are. And we've had a saying in Minyan for about 3 years, which is, if you can't cry here, why are we doing this? And I am about to lead the community tonight in song at the Stand for Israel thing. I'm scared out of my mind and cried a little bit and said, right, I've got to be able to be safe with my Minyan people. And that goes back to my 6 questions. Where is my community? My safest Jewish community today is my Minyan here at the synagogue, because I know that they'll back me. And so we just use this constantly as a model of how am I connected to, where am I connected, where can I go for my spiritual, did I pray to God? In some ways that's relevant, in some ways it's not. Did I have a safe place to be a Jew in the world? This is the place that I wanted to be this morning. So those are what we're trying to long-term foster for our kids and for their parents. Okay, anybody have any questions right now? Anybody have any thoughts? You're going, oh, I would try that.
When did you explicitly articulate these 6 questions to the students and their families?
Yes, I'm doing it. I've done it with my board. I'm doing it with every family. I do it at our gatherings every month. I'm doing it every time. So one thing that happened with our bike mitzvah, she did all of these things except for connecting with community, and I'm trying to figure out how to go backwards with that, or she connected with her community. There were hundreds of people when she came to give her Devar Torah at the Bima, but she didn't connect with the kid community, and I'm trying to figure out how would I set that up differently, but because something went a little funky with that. I don't want to talk too personally about that right here, but yes, I tell it with all the kids, and I've started having kids and parents quote it back to me, one day, 3 weeks ago, a boy came to me and said, "Oh, did I mention I'm doing a triathlon on Saturday?" And I said, "No." And I go, "Why are you doing a why are you telling me this?" He goes, "Well, it's all about my bar mitzvah. I mean, you said we should take a personal challenge and find something, and when I'm swimming, I'm going to be thinking about crossing the Red Sea, which is related to my Torah portion, and when I'm on the dry ground, I'm going to be thinking about..." And he started articulating this, and I went, "You're telling me this 2 days before? I haven't even trotted out all my materials. Wait, wait." And we actually pulled out a siddur, went through Birkot HaShachar, which is all that and found him 6 blessings to consider. And he said afterwards, he said, Rokah ha'aretz al hamayim. How could you not connect that when you get out of the water from swimming and you get onto dry land, he said this blessing, Rokah ha'aretz al hamayim. So I'm going to take a breath and say, when I call this beyond the barchu, what does it mean to be an emerging adult in the Jewish community? My job is to give my little Jacob the tools of the Siddur so that when he has the awe of finishing a triathlon, the first thing he wants to say is Birkot HaShachar. I am not interested in teaching him Birkot HaShachar so that he knows how to say it. I'm interested in teaching him so that one day when the ground feels shaky, he can say that blessing, or he's in, his kayak tipped in the water. It was cold in Minnesota. His dad had to kind of rescue him to start the triathlon. The blessing that they said as a family is going to take the Jewish people and Jacob and his dad so much further than crossing off that he knows Baruch on his checklist. And that's what I'm aiming for in every crevice of what we're doing here. Enough said? Okay, I'm moving on. So 16. So these are the elements of bar mitzvah. Now I'm on a new page, and I do show this to all my families. The first one is, there are 4 buckets of the experience. One is the learning bucket, and that's the one that we've all grown up knowing, right? You're going to learn Torah, you're going to learn prayers, you're learning Haftarah, you'll go to Hebrew school, religious school, you'll have tutoring, you'll do something with mitzvot, because we're calling it a bar mitzvah. That was a big question in my 3rd year. Why are we calling it a bar mitzvah when we're too afraid to use the word mitzvah, because we might use the word commandment, and we don't want to be commanded as Jews, as religious, as liberal Jews. Is it a good deed? Is it a commandment? What is it? But that will be further in the presentation. And then the question of Israel. And in our synagogue, we did not teach Israel for a number of years because no one could agree on the policies of the Israeli government, and they gave up. They gave up talking about it because they didn't want to insult each other or insult the sides, as if there's a side here. And so bringing Israel back into the curriculum is only 1 year old at our synagogue. But anyway, as the presentation is, the learning piece is what we've known as the kind of traditional stuff. Go to slide 17. The biggest thing that we offer, one of the bigger things that we offer at Shir Tikva, is the reflection side, which was not a component when I was a child in the Jewish community. And the reflection has these components. What does this mean to me? Rabbi Latz invites the kids. A lot of them come to us saying, I think religion is bad, I think Judaism is bad, I think everything is bad, right? They're 12, this is how they are, some of them. And he says, great, if you want to get at your bar mitzvah and talk about why Judaism is bad, as long as you don't sound like a schlunk, as long as you're not insulting and you have intelligent backing, have at it. But don't get up there just to be a jerk and to say, I'm a 13-year-old and I know better than the entire history and the entire world. If you have a reason, and I've had a child who recently said, religion is the cause of wars. I mean, look what's happening. Is it not? I can't argue with him, but if he wants to get up and say why. So the Devar Torah is written by the kids. The rabbi doesn't edit it. The parents don't edit it. It doesn't sound like an adult is talking. They often sound like 13-year-old speeches. They're not always grammatically perfect. They're not always incredibly coherent. But we are looking for a long-term, when they look back on their B'nai Mitzvah, we want them to say, those were my words. The rabbi supported me to say what I had to say. And by the way, none of them have gotten up on the bima and said that Judaism or religion is stupid. And we have had some pretty dramatic things happen. But it has to be owned by them and their reflection. So as I present this, that they get to think about God. We have a lot of kids who say, I don't believe in God, I don't want to have a bar mitzvah. And that's right. That's part of the what we try to teach them is that is part of the authentic struggle of the Jewish people. That's right. So have at it, have doubts, come and wonder. We had a young man who is the grandson of Holocaust survivors who came to us one day and said, I can't do it. I can't say these prayers. I do not believe in God, and I am not saying Baruch Atah Adonai. I can read Torah. I don't believe that either, but I can read it. But I can't lead Baruch Atah Adonai. And the parents were up in arms. He's having tantrums at home. It's terrible. I thought that this child had the most integrity of any child. He's saying, please don't make me stand on the bima and say something that I don't have integrity about saying. I thought it had the most integrity of all. And he was having tantrums. The parents are crying. What have we done wrong? Our Holocaust parents, how can they not have a bar mitzvah of the only Jewish grandchild because everybody else is intermarried? Nobody's raising Jewish children. Yada yada. I thought we got to give this child the platform to believe what he believes and not force him to say brachot that he doesn't mean. And he was the 18th bar mitzvah or somewhere in there. He came to every bar mitzvah where the rabbi honored these kids, and he said, right, you have doubts, it's great. And in the course of the year, what he came to is, I can see that the prayers are bigger than me. I can see that these words are bigger than me and what I believe. And I'll say them, and I'm going to lead them, because I can see I'm part of a people, and that this is the language my people speaks. And he led them more beautifully than anyone. But the backstory, as the parents and I cried, was that he now has the integrity and the story that he was able to work it out and figure out something that transcends. And for a 13-year-old to realize that there's something bigger than he is a huge thing developmentally. And it all worked out. And had he not said them, I would have been fine with that too. But going back to my 6 questions, how is it meaningful? How is it spiritual? How is it, his was the greatest. And we let him flounder for 10.5 months. And it was just 6 weeks before where he said to the tutor, "Oh yeah, I'll sing all the prayers." And so we let it ride. So Alan, as you look through my materials later, you'll see that all of my materials honor that for kids, honor that for parents, and honor kind of the process of what it is. Okay, I'm on slide 18. The third of the 4 elements of our program are community. So we build community through Hebrew school, friends, family, meetings with the rabbis, social justice actions. Somewhere I'll add, how do we think, who are the people in my community? And the kids all chant Torah at morning minyan on Thursday before their bar mitzvah. And the minyan folks, who are regulars, kids don't know them, they don't know the kids, give them feedback afterwards and thank them for chanting Torah and say, oh, this is what you did. And there's a piece that for the children, in some ways, it's a run-through with real people, with only 10 people. What's the big deal? So for the kids who are really nervous, it's a lovely, loving way to welcome them. For the minyan people, they've gotten to know all of the kids in the congregation one by one. So we've introduced them to already 60 since I've been here. And for the kids and the parents, it's the intimacy for the kids and the parents that we can't give them when they have 200 guests. And so for them, many of them reflect on that as their favorite moment of bar mitzvah was coming to the minyan, even though they were so skeptical. They don't want to pray. They don't want to be part of the minyan. And it's in some ways their favorite thing. Okay? I'm just going to check if anybody has any comments or questions once more. I have to kind of toggle between 2 different things. I don't even know if anybody's still with us besides Alan, but okay. Oh, good, Danielle. All right. Oh, good. I see Sarah's highlighting what she's doing. The 4th bubble comes from my Layla, and I've now said personal accomplishment is our 4th bubble. And I'll say to the families at the intake, this is the bubble that I am not going to pursue or police with you. If you have something that you want to try or accomplish, I want you to do it. And I want you come to me, and I'll figure out how to make it fit my other 5 bubbles. But we have had 6 or 8 kids play their instruments in the service, but not as a performance. They've figured out how to play their bass clarinet, their violin, and one child played piano, drums, and guitar at the service, but not to show off how great they are, but because they wanted to. And one of my boys has become a regular in the ensemble, and he's my best player, and he's my most devoted, and he's 14, and he's been in for 2 years, and he is now part of the prayer leading team, and is now invited to the prayer leading conversations in the synagogue. And let's see, we've had a wonderful example we've had in terms of personal accomplishment is we have a young man who's raised by a single mom by choice, she calls herself. She had 2 children on her own in her early 30s. She set up her 12-year-old to interview 7 men about how did they know they reached adulthood? What were the things that led them towards adulthood? And these 7 guys gave them great stuff. They kept it clean, which was great. And he and the boy and his mom came up with 25 activities that kind of propelled them toward adulthood, you know, using a credit card, voting, getting their driver's license, making a meal. And he came up with 13 challenges for his 13 years. 6 of them are uniquely Jewish. He's going to usher at the synagogue. He's going to be in our day of service doing something. And 7 of them are uniquely universal, though we can call them Jewish too. He's making a meal once a week for his family. His birthday party, he needs to make all of the phone calls and arrangements. He's mowing the lawn. There's some other things where he is focusing not just on the Jewish piece of B'nai Mitzvah, but on the, we call them adults in the Jewish community, what is that going to mean and how are they going to propel them? So when I share with you some of our reflection things, one of our first activities with the kids and the parents when I meet with them in 5th grade, I think, is they interview each other. The kids have to write a page on what do I think I get to do as an adult? What do I think I have to do as an adult? And then the parents have to make a list of what do I want my child to know before he or she leaves my home as an 18-year-old or whenever they leave their home. What do I think I need to do as a parent to prepare them? And I really think that that's a key element of what we can, because every time I say, what does a bar mitzvah mean to you? They all go, well, I'll be an adult. And I've really challenged and say, okay, you're going to be an adult at 13, and parents, if you're going to say this is adulthood, what is that going to mean for you? Because if you're going to tell me the day after, they don't clean their room and they don't do anything, and I have to wang it, or you're going to say, well, they can't, they're not mature enough to make these decisions, then somehow we haven't really created an adult rite of passage or a rite of passage toward adulthood. So again, if I call this beyond the Baruch, what does it mean to emerge into adulthood? I constantly want to help them think, how is this a rite of passage toward adulthood that has Jewish content, that has Jewish learning, that is personal, that is connected, all of these things, so that our world goes well and people make decisions based on connections and real knowledge. Okay? Have any questions or comments so far? All right. So for those of you on the slides, I'm on page 21. This is a bit of a laundry list. As I envisioned this is what I wanted for children. I wanted it to be more than a sanctuary experience. They all say, oh, the sanctuary's over there. Like I keep saying, it's not just the sanctuary. I've had parents come back to me at the evaluation, because we do an evaluation afterwards, saying, I know, I didn't know what you were talking about, but now I see. This had very little to do with the sanctuary ceremony. This had everything to do with all the other pieces. Thank you for giving us that. Okay? I keep in mind this is a journey for parents as well as children, that it's an opportunity for access, enrichment, engagement. Sorry if some of this is repetitive. That Bar and Bat Mitzvah is not a graduation from Judaism, and the real test for me is continued involvement. It shouldn't stop at B'nai Mitzvah. If they leave the synagogue afterwards, I'm left wondering, okay, so what? And because I'm only in my 4th year of this program, I don't have any data to say how connected it's made them. I'm just believing in myself and believing that something good has launched because of where this has gone. For now, my teachers are talking this talk, the rabbis are talking this talk, the board members. And I can only say time will tell, because they're teenagers and they may drift off into the ether. I'm kind of interested to see how this Israel crisis may bring some of them back, and how it will. I don't know, but I'll see when we're at the Stand with Israel thing tonight. But I don't have any data to say I'm successful. I'm just believing in myself because I've been an educator for all these years and watching what I think is my best goods. All right. So this is how we treat the child. I'm on slide 22. Okay? The young person is the agent. The young person. I am not having conversations with the parents about why the child isn't doing this. I'm not chasing the child. Alicia, who was going to be on this call, when we started talking about this a year ago, she said, the kids come in and they're crying. My mom made me practice and I didn't know what to do. And I said, why are the kids crying? Why is the mom in charge of practicing? Why is this? So a lot of my thinking comes from the Suzuki method, which is that the student is the agent and the teacher is the other agent, and everything is negotiated between the child and the teacher. Child says they want to quit violin. The parent says, great. Talk to the teacher, and the teacher does problem solving. What is hard? Why is hard? What are you not understanding? So on slide 22 then, their course load is negotiated with the tutor. And negotiated, I don't mean negotiate, like they're not actually going back and forth. It's more that the tutor says, here's what you're doing. Can you do this? Here's how you should study. And sometimes we have to shift our expectations of how much they're learning. There are no gold stars in heaven for extra verses of Torah that you chant in a sanctuary when you're 13 years old. There are no extra points for if you led Musaf, if you care about Musaf, I know that some of you are not from conservative synagogues, but if you don't get extra points if you led Hallelujah on key, it's really, the youth has to say, I want to lead Hallelujah. Okay. But if the kids aren't on track, after 3 sessions, I'll get them involved to say we need to troubleshoot. But I currently have a student that I actually felt I had to intervene, and I'm so regretful because these are parents who now want to make sure the kid is practicing and make him do it, and they're used to this model of if he's not good, it will. I think actually underneath there's a psychological thing of if he doesn't do what everybody else does, it will affect poorly on our parenting, and so they're putting the pressure. And the child, with tears in his eyes, said to them with me, "You guys, I'm telling you how I learn best. I know you want me to do this." He actually articulated, I know you think that that's better for me, but the way my tutor is telling me is working, and I'm going to do this, and I want you to support my way. And I really think that in the long run of their family's health, psychological health, spiritual, it all is part of my 6 questions of how does this honor my style, that a child can articulate to his parents, this is how I learn best, can have ripple effects beyond the Baruch Hu, beyond how many verses of Torah, that they have a voice, that their synagogue said, we support you. At least voicing this is a really huge thing for the Jewish people and for Jewish children. I really believe that. What's really great, continuing on my slide on 22, what's really great is the children choose their Torah reading, so they read the entire Torah portion and they choose what they read. And I thought that was unique to Shir Tikva, and I've been touting it. It turns out most synagogues around the country are doing that in the Reform movement. I had no idea because I come from a model of the rabbi tells you to read your Rishon. This is how long it is. Oh, lucky you, you got the shorter one. Lucky you, you got the longer one. But the kids read it. They choose what they want to read. It's usually a contiguous 18 to 25 verses. And if along the way they don't do all 5 of their aliyot and they have to shorten it, it's fine. If they want to do something longer because they did it more, great. So it shifts during the year. I am not wedded to how many verses. I am not wedded to a Rishon, how many. We have a lot of families who don't have people to say the aliyah over the Torah, and they're worried that if the child says more than 2 aliyot or 3 aliyot, they will have the embarrassment of saying they're not connected to community or to Jewish family, and they're nervous. And so going back to my 6 things is how do we engage this family in Jewish community? For some of our families, they don't have Jews to invite to their B'nai Mitzvah. Somehow they've decided they needed to do this. Somehow it's important to them. But I am always watching the pulse on what is for the family, how does it honor their thing, and so having flexibility with verses is important to me. You can go to slide 23. Their Devar Torah, again, the youth poses the questions. The answers are the basis of their questions on the Devar Torah, and the Devar Torah sound like 13-year-olds wrote them. We've had a couple of tutors bristle at this. Oh, why aren't they more sophisticated? And Rabbi Latz holds a firm ground that they sound like 13-year-olds. We live in a world where parents do the homework. By the time the kids are 10 years old, the parents are doing their homework, and a 10-year-old stuff sounds like adults, and it's not theirs. So we're going counterculture in some way to hold the line that it's going to sound like a 13-year-old, and if it doesn't sound like a rabbinic dissertation, that's okay. That the rabbi already got his smicha. We have two males rabbis here. His smicha. The child doesn't need to have that. Okay. Questions from the gallery? Making any sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Give you something to think about, Danielle, Alan, Jason.
Yes.
Okay. Ready? I'm on page 24. So we started this by saying, so how do we do it? How do we put it all together? Slide 24 says preparing. Hebrew school is prayer focused. We want to teach in Hebrew school all they need for bar mitzvah prep that can be learned in a group. So our Hebrew school doesn't teach modern Hebrew. It's only 32 sessions a year, and they miss for hockey and they miss for that. We cannot teach phonetic Hebrew and prayer decoding and modern Hebrew so far. We'll see where we get, but it's all prayer focused. So third grade Aleph Bet, second grade they're learning basic prayers. Third grade Aleph Bet, fourth grade basic prayers. Fifth grade they're practicing kind of the Matbea Tefillah. Sixth grade they're really getting into it, and along the way hopefully they're learning what they mean. But that's also my job in other places. And in religious school, you'll see on my list, fifth grade currently has the Jewish life cycle. Sixth grade has Haftarah and Purim. Seventh, I think I'm actually going to talk about these as I go through. The Haftarah, both the Reform and Conservative movement are thinking about throwing out the Haftarah. They call it the moment of narcolepsy, right? The child sings long, 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 long. Those of us in the profession love it because it's beautiful and we understand it maybe. But the congregation, that's the time to go get a drink, take a nap, and stuff. And it's not really connected to who are the prophets and why are we saying this. So our sixth grade teacher is fabulous, and he said, I got it. Each child will study their prophet of their bar mitzvah, and they, at the end in May, will have a prophet fair. We have a state fair here where we eat every food imaginable on a stick, including alligator and other weird things. Bacon wrapped bagels, God knows, with cream cheese, like who knows. But he does prophet on a stick, and they teach, at the end of the year, they teach the congregation after a Shabbat service. They come as the prophet with their billboards and with their prophet on a stick, and they know if the prophet was a historical prophet or a literary prophet. They know where they lived. They know who was the king. They teach the congregation, because I got to tell you, I'm a professional Jew with 30 years of Jewish education. I go to every Jewish educational thing that I can, and I still don't know who the prophets are, and I still don't know why we say that prophet, why we follow them, what they were doing, and how it can be relevant to my life as a Jew today. So the kids are learning about these people, why they went, who they were, counterculture. Then they present them to the congregation. If you think back to my 6 questions, how is it communal? How is it real Jewish learning? How does it prepare me? And then my congregation there's this coming out of the 6th graders. These are the kids that are going to be our next B'nai Mitzvah class. And so I'm hoping that it's starting to knit together the adults in the congregation, knowing the children in the congregation, the children feeling like I have something to share, and it actually has knowledge, not just what do I think, Judaism is stupid or Judaism is great, but it actually, boy, this prophet must have really gone out on a limb, or I would never want to be this prophet. I do show the movie Oh God, my favorite theological movie of all time, John Denver. What would happen if God showed up in your grocery store and said, you're the one. You have got to save the Jewish people. And I got to tell you, watching the stuff going on with Israel, the Gazans, I'm thinking, right, who's going to be the prophet of our time that gets everybody to calm down, gets everybody to put down their weapons? Why are we singing Lo Yisa Goy El Goy in services if we can't figure out? So I don't want to get into the political situation other than to say, how do we make the prophets show that they were brave, show that they were countercultural, show that they had a message for us, and that anybody can be the prophet or whatever. I mean, I'm aiming for really deep enrichment, engagement, accessibility. That's what we're going for. Okay? So we're going to try to wrap up in 10 minutes because we started 20 minutes late. So just so you know. Okay? If you have to leave, don't worry, it's being recorded. And you won't have to sit through the first 20 minutes of nothing in the recording. Okay. 7th grade, the focus is on Judaism and sexuality. And I talk to the 5th graders. I say, in 7th grade, we're going to have a unit on, I don't like to, they call it sex ed here. I don't like it to be termed that because I don't want it to be just about the mechanics of sex, though they do put condoms on bananas and they have to go out and buy a condom at a store and stuff. And they talk about the accepting everybody on the sexuality, what do we call it now? The spectrum. But really I say, we want you to be thinking about your body, how you honor your body, how you protect your body, and how you honor other bodies when you start to interact with them, and how you respect them, and how you honor all the bodies around you. And you know, the unit has to do with eating disorders. It has to do with all these things, but it's still referred to as sex ed. It's for the parents. It's for the kids. But this, going back to my 6 questions, how is it meaningful? How does it prepare me to be a Jewish adult? How do I know that Judaism has anything to say about sex and my body and how I'm going to use it as a sexual being in my future? And that is repeated again, I think, in 9th or 10th grade. And that happens, okay? 8th grade does study of Jewish communities around the world and the Holocaust. 9th grade is ethics. 10th grade is confirmation, and they go to the RAC trip in D.C. But I think that's enough on that. You can refer to that. I don't need to talk it through more. Okay? We're on slide 25. Okay? Our program, I've started thinking on slide 25, our program for B'nai Mitzvah is really 5th through 8th grade. I have to be still engaged with those 8th graders. The first thing they do in the fall is they have Shabbat dinner with me and we say, all right, what next? We've had a lot of parents say, I really miss going to all the B'nai Mitzvah. I don't have a reason to go to synagogue anymore. I wish there was a reason. I mean, these are the families that we're talking about. They don't want to leave the community, the connections, but they don't want to be too Jewish, which is a very Midwestern thing to think. I don't know about your areas of the country, but and so immediately we start the parents organ, and it's the parents. The kids are going to have Nifty. The kids are going to have youth group. The kids are going to have their sports team. They're going to wander in and out. The parents are the ones who finally met Jews in the synagogue that they like and that they hung out with. They helped with the kiddushes, the onegs. So how can they? So one of our groups, those kids are going to be juniors in high school. They still get together to talk about what it's like to raise an adolescent, but they have generated it. And the model I keep saying to the families is, no one gives me a sticker for showing up at services. No one's going to give you a sticker. You have to want it. So I'm not going to provide the programs after 8th grade. You have to want this community enough that you are willing to organize your people. I will support it. I'll give you a platform. But you have to own your Jewish commitment. And that's what we're trying to express by 5th grade is no one is going to come and check up on you. Don't tell me, oh, the rabbi might not like this. Tell me, I don't like this or I do like this. Own your choices, but make them in a Jewish context, and we're modeling that all the time. Okay? I'm on page 20. I'm 25. 5th grade, they get their dates in January. They have to sign up by February. And we have a gathering in April called Shabbat HaMakor. And the first thing they do, it's for parents and kids. We line them all up. They're in order. They get the name of their Torah portion, and they get their Mishkan Tefillah, which is my favorite Siddur. I could write a master's thesis on that. That will save for another webinar. They interview their parents. Why do you want to do this? Why at Shir Tikva? Why now? And I really want some of the parents actually say, I wish you had warned me. I've had a parent say, we're doing this for the Jewish grandfather who committed suicide, and we haven't told the kids, and there's so much personal stuff, and we didn't want to answer that in this context. And I said, right, but you need to start answering for yourself. This is a time for you to be thinking pastorally for yourself. You as parents get to be agents in this transformation, and so I hold a lot of parents' hands as they work through all the Jewish stuff, all the non-Jewish stuff, all the cultural stuff. So it starts with an interview. The kids get to say, why? Why are we doing this? And why did you choose Shir Tikva? I want them to know that they made a choice. Shir Tikva is only 26 years, so we have very few. Thank you, Sarah. Yay, Sarah! She's improving my slides for me. I want that there's no legacy families here. We only have 2, maybe 4 families of young adults who are raising kids who were raised in the congregation. Pretty much anybody who's at Shir Tikva chose in for a whole host of reasons. So I want to keep that consciousness. Why? Why are you? So many Jews choose not to engage in Jewish community. Why are you deciding to? They get their Hebrew names. They get their Sidurim. 5th grade, it's just, oh my goodness, moment. In 6th grade, what we discovered, our old framework was they had to come to 12 services a year. They got a passport. The rabbi stamped the passport, and then that fulfilled a requirement. What Rabbi Latz has said is that's pediatric Judaism. In his, not to dishonor what they did, he said, no one gives me a sticker if I go to services. This is not authentic adult Judaism. No one's giving you gold stars. You have to want it. And so we're not going to give you gimmicks to get you there. And I had a parent say to me who already had 1 child already, and with his 2nd child, he said he's an attorney, but he's for people who are in anyway, I won't say it. He said, well, then we're just not going to come. And he said it with that face, and I said, right. And left it at that. You've got to own this. This is not your mommy telling you you have to come to services. My mommy doesn't tell me I have to come to services. The rabbi's mommy, they come. My mom comes to services because she wants to. You have to want this. And so after a while, that parent came back to me and really said what was really on his mind was, if there's no reason to come, then I'm fighting with my kids at home. And can you give us some sort of structure? And then we could meet halfway. So now we do, it says 6 Shabbat programs, maybe Sarah can change that. We now do, religious school for 6th grade is 3 Sundays a month and 1 Saturday. And the Saturday is for adults and kids. And it's learning together so that they all have a reason to come together. But we can actually be doing the teaching and the prayer practice, and we can make it all work together. You can see on my list it says 1 hour the parents study Siddur with the rabbi. The parents are with the rabbi for adult study. The kids are with me and Barry, the teacher, and Rabbi Rodich, and they're doing stuff. Then we have 1 hour minyan-style service that is learner's minyan. It's kind of services light. We do fun songs and stuff like that. And then it's parents and kids learning together, and we do the deep dive. I'm going to send you my binder's worth of materials of what questions we pose, but it's the big questions. What is holiness? What do I care deeply about in the world? What is tikkun olam? And then the parents and the kids talk. We do a speed dating thing, but it's not. I keep reminding them, parents, you don't need to facilitate this. You're participants. Kids, you don't need to facilitate this. Everybody. So when we do round robins, I might be a child with a parent, and we talk, and boy, things open up for them in such a way, because it's not just young people embarrassed that they don't want to be doing this. Sometimes we're with an adult, and it's not parents saying, oh, I need to facilitate this. They get to think and reflect, going back to my 6 questions, what does this mean to me? And then they get to connect with each other with real Jewish learning. Sometimes it's just everybody pose your questions, and I'm not going to give you the answers. I'm going to teach you where to find the answers. That's my job, is to make the need for me obsolete in a way. Mine is to give you the platform to keep learning beyond the Baruch Hu, beyond what I can teach you today. My job is to give you a Jewish book, show you Wikipedia with the ones that I trust, and stuff like that. Okay? We're going to have to wind down really soon here. I'm just going to see if nobody's typed any questions. Will somebody type a question or something so I have something to go on here? Or so you can say it. Danielle and Al, I can hear you, so. Or Jason.
I think Sarah wrote a question.
Oh, see, I can't see it. Hold on. Oh, I don't see it. Danielle, can you say what the question is? I can't see it. I don't know.
Sure. She wrote, can you say the minyan? We also have a daily would love to involve our kids.
Yeah. So if you look at 28, it says the B'nai Mitzvah, let's see, B'nai Mitzvah services. Okay, skip looking at 27. We only have Minyan once a week. It was actually started by Jason Rodich, who was by my side when he was an intern 4 years ago. We get anywhere from 8 people to 20, and the kids now, the week of their bar mitzvah, Wednesday night they chant they chant their Torah reading at services on Wednesday night for the Hebrew school, so that they're part of their community of kids. Thursday morning they come and they help me lead services, and they chant their Torah on Thursday morning, and then Friday night and Saturday. And we've tried to just beef up what the minyan's role is in this child. So afterwards they give feedback in the following way. They say, "Hi, I'm Wendy. Welcome to the adult community at Shir Tikva. I loved how you knit, or I noticed your Hebrew was knit, but I've tried to kind of tailor it so that they're actually connecting as opposed to applauding for them."
Mm-hmm.
And the kids have started saying, "Hi, Wendy." Like they've actually started. I mean, I realize that in some ways seems really simplistic, but I'm just constantly keeping my 6 questions in. How is this going to make a difference for the child? How is it going to make a difference for the minyan people? How is it going to raise their feeling of community? I will say that 4 years ago we had a local Gentile family where the father and the 2 boys were missing in the mountains of Colorado, and the 2 daughters and the mother were here, and a lot of our kids went to school with them, and they were missing. They were eventually found. The plane had gone down, and we knew that was how it was going to end, but it took several days because it was winter in Colorado, Montana, wherever. And all the Gentiles went to church. They went and had vigils. Their churches immediately opened their doors, and we were talking with our kids of where do they go, because there's not an automatic vigil in the Jewish community like this, and where this was an opportunity to look in Mishkan Tefillah where there are 10 meditations on death with all the kids, because there we had all these 12-year-olds who had classmates missing and who knew them and who didn't have a place. And so Minyan is a little bit meant to be also the place where people come to, like I said, if you can't cry here, why are we doing this, right? But also, and when I said the spiritual place of where is your heart, it's again, where do you want to go when your heart's the happiest? Where do you want to go when your heart's the saddest? I think we're going to have to wrap up here. You'll see in my presentation, it kind of talks through what else we do after their bar mitzvah. They have to come back with their tutor and talk with the tutor. What did they do? What did they learn? What do they want to learn more about? What's next for them? So that it's not a graduation from Judaism. It's that was so great, and that they have a chance to say goodbye. They have a chance to acknowledge each other, not with gifts and presents, but with presence and with face-to-face acknowledgement, and so that it's not more like, oh, we just stopped. Sometimes I go out for lunch with the family and we do it all together depending on how it is. So we're going to need to end. I'd love your feedback and your questions, and so what I'd love for you to do is email kind of a little bit of feedback. What's gotten your juices flowing, and what are you thinking about, and what do you want to incorporate, and how can I help you think through what you do differently and deeper, if that's what this has brought for you, to really make this engaging, enriching, and accessible to your families in a way that's good for them and good for the Jewish people and good for you. And so that's where we're going to end. All right?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I will send you my curriculum for the 6th grade so that you can look at it and then ask me questions. And I'd love to hear what you do with it. And all I ask is that if, like I said in the email, if you use my materials, my biggest interest is that people know how to find me to hear why I did things. I don't care that the materials are great or not. I care that if somebody's going to use them and they're trying to figure it out, that they can trace it back to me so that I can help them think it through. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah.